Hi, welcome. My name is Charlotte. I love colorful and sparkly makeup, but I don't love capitalism and I don't love consumerism. And here on my channel, I always try to talk about and appreciate makeup without centering buying new things. Today, I'm here to introduce a usage project / project pan that's designed to help me get use on my makeup, enjoy the things I already have, and resist over-consuming new things. This is the Blush Roulette project. This was created by the anti-consumerist queen, Lara Likes Mascara. It's also been adapted by Sarah at Already Shopped It, who has been doing a tweaked version of this over on her channel. I will link both of those creators below, and you should definitely go and check out their videos on this project. I'm really excited to start this project. I got into blush probably 2 years too late. I tend to be 2 years behind every trend. So right now I'm much more interested in blush than I have ever been, and I'm much more interested in like vibrant and colorful blush. I used to really only wear like brown, kind of bronzer adjacent blush shades. I used to really see blush shades as like interchangeable once they were sheared out on the cheeks, and I think to some extent that is true, and I need to keep that in mind when I get the desire to buy all sorts of different nuanced colors of blush. They're really only ranging from like orange to purple, covering, you know, half of the color wheel. Yes, there are variations there, but most blushes on the market are versions of pink. Even so, I've been having a lot more fun with blush recently, and I've accumulated a lot more blushes in my collection, which I want to make sure that I get to know well this year and show some love and appreciation to. I'm doing this project similar to how Lara has done it, where I'm going to be choosing a blush every month to focus on for that month. And it's not going to be the only blush I can use that month. It's just going to be like my go-to. It's going to stay out with my everyday makeup. It's kind of going to be the thing I'm wearing if I don't have a specific reason to reach for something else. And I am choosing them based on how seasonally appropriate they will be for that month, what kind of looks I expect to be attracted to in that month, whether that's warm or cool, bright or muted. So I'm hoping to get, you know, a good number of uses on my focus blush for the month. I currently have 13 blushes in my collection, so that's pretty close to being able to do my entire blush collection, one per month. I have to leave one out of the rotation based on the structure I have right now, and I think the one I'm going to leave out is this yellow toned blush from e.l.f. This is the shade Cantaloupe, and I've kept this around in my collection because it's a really fun option to have for a more dramatic look or a themed shop my stash or an Instagram look, something like that. But really, yellow isn't a color I find particularly flattering on myself, so it's not really something that I want to force myself to pull out a bunch of times for like everyday looks. That's just not something I see myself enjoying, and it's not why I kept this around in my collection. I didn't keep this with the illusion that I will be getting tons of everyday usage on it. So I think that I'm going to call this my 13th blush that doesn't get its own month. It's not the end of the world. I didn't use this once in 2024, but it's still worth it for me to just have it on hand for certain occasions. So yeah, so that is the basic structure of the project. I plan to do updates every quarter or every season. So at the end of March, I will give you my first update recapping how the first 3 months of the project went and introducing my sort of more springtime blushes. Where I live, March is not part of the spring, so March will be in with the winter blushes, which I will introduce today. But yeah, I think quarterly updates will keep this project manageable for me and give me enough to talk about to fill a video for each update. As part of this series, I also want to do basically a shop my stash, get ready with me, themed around each blush. So basically where I assemble a little collection of makeup items to go with the blush and build a look that sort of speaks to that blush shade in some way, makes it shine, is like designed to go with that blush. This is an idea I've had for a while as a way to sort of like explore why/whether nuances in blush matter to me, how I can use that as inspiration, and also like often I choose my blush last to go with my eye look. So to choose the blush up front and then have that as like the creative constraint for you know, thinking how can I design an eye look that's going to work well with this color. I think that just sounds like creatively fun and interesting to me. And so I've decided to lump that in with my blush roulette project. I'm not totally sure yet. It'll depend on like sort of the length of those videos, whether I do them as like one video with 3 looks at the end of each quarter, or whether I do each look in its own video and post them a little bit more frequently. It's also possible that some of those won't come within the quarter where I've been using that blush, but that I might sort of revisit the blush later if I haven't had time to film like during that month. So yeah, now I'm going to move into introducing my winter blushes for January, February, and March. Not totally sure when this video will go up, but I have already started using my January blush. And for the winter and spring months, one of my goals is to focus on my powder blushes because I'm less likely to reach for them in warmer months. Also, because I have dry skin and I have more experience with cream blushes, powders are a bit intimidating for me to reach for, and I have like way fewer overall uses on my powder blush collection. And for a lot of my powder blushes, I don't really know how I feel about them actually. So that's another goal, especially for this first quarter of the year, to get to know my powder blush collection, figure out how to use powder blush well and how I like to use these particular shades. The focus blush for January is going to be this shade from DandylionsCo called Coquina. I'm wearing it today in person. It's a really nice minimal beige. It's similar to what I was describing earlier, which is like just a bronzy kind of look. I mean, this is not obviously like a bronzy look, but it's similar to a very, very subtle bronzer in that it just adds a little bit of shape back to my face. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've been reaching for it a lot more frequently in January than I have like ever. I have not used this very often. This is an interesting tone. I think it goes with pretty much anything because it's super, super neutral, but it's still more of an unconventional shade. So I'm excited to like think about what would be a look that was sort of like designed for this blush to make this blush shine because it's so barely noticeable. For my February blush, I'm going to be using this old ass Super Shock blush from ColourPop. This is in the shade Between the Sheets. The Super Shock formula is sort of somewhere between a cream and a powder to begin with, but this is super, super dried out. I don't know, it's hard to describe. I think it's like essentially like a really, really hard pressed powder at this point, like hard panned even. And I know this looks disgusting, but I actually really, really like it in its dried up, hard panned form, because the brush picks up so little product that it's really, really easy for me to work with. Somebody who has historically been very intimidated by blush and really doesn't want to overdo it. So I really like this. This is a pink shade, like a pretty neutral, basic sugar cookie kind of pink. I think it will be nice for February around Valentine's Day. It's not the most like fun Valentine's-y pop kind of blush, so I don't even know if I'll wear this on Valentine's Day, but I figured that for like deep winter, for these months when I'm very pale, I think this will be a really nice, easy option. And then for March, I'm choosing Luminoso by Milani. This is obviously a classic, viral, iconic shade. I have not used it very much, and I don't know it super well, but I enjoy it when I do use it. And to me, a lot of people will pull this out in late summer as like a really sun-kissed glow kind of look. Personally, I'm much less likely to reach for powders at that time of year, so I kind of see this as a springtimey peach. And because it's very warm, I also think it will be fun to pair with greens around St. Patrick's Day. So this is what I'm going to be reaching for during that transition between winter and spring. So those are my winter blush picks, and I hope that you will come back in March to see my update on these. Thank you so much for watching if you watched, and I will see you very soon. Bye!